Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have used a men's t-shirt that I got in a sale for just 20p to create a strapless shirred dress. So let's get into it. First, I measured how long I wanted the top half to be. I chose 9 inches. I started by cutting the arms off, then drew a straight line under the collar across the shirt and cut along this line. I then measured and marked 9 inches down from the top in various places, connected these with a straight line and cut along the line. Save the bottom half as we'll need this later. I drew a straight line down both sides, then cut along them. This was to even out the edges of the fabric to make a square piece. I had something like this. I placed these pieces right sides together and pinned along one edge. I then sewed where I'd pinned. Next, I folded the top edge over about ½ an inch and pinned in place. This was to hem the top. I then sewed where I'd pinned. I then decided how much of my top I wanted to be shirred. I measured and marked 1 inch up from the bottom and ½ an inch from the top. All the fabric between this would be shirred. Before I started shirring, I needed to change my bobbin to an elastic thread, set my machine to a long straight stitch and increase the tension. I have another video on shirring that explains this in more detail. I'll leave the link in the description if you wanted to check that out. I then sewed straight lines across my shirt, making sure the right sides of my fabric was facing up so the elastic would be on the inside of my shirt once it was sewn. When I reached the end of each line, I tied the 2 threads together to hold them in place and repeated this process for the rest of the fabric. To make sure I was keeping my line straight, I used the edge of my presser foot as a guide. Once it was all sewn, it looked like this. Taking the bottom of the shirt I cut off earlier, I cut along one of the side seams to have an open piece of fabric. I then measured 15 inches in from the side, marked this in various places, connected them with a straight line and cut along the line. This piece was used to make the bottom of the dress. I folded the top edge over about ½ an inch and pinned in place. I then sewed where I'd pinned. This was to make a casing for the elastic to pass through. Before I started sewing, I made sure to change my bobbin back to a cotton thread and change my machine back to its usual tension. Next, I measured a piece of elastic around my waist so it was a comfortable fit and fed this through the casing I had just made. Once it was fed all the way through the casing, I sewed down each end to hold it in place. I then pinned along the open edge of the skirt piece with the right sides together and did the same for the top piece. I then sewed where I'd pinned. This is how they looked once they were both sewn. Next, I needed to attach the 2 pieces together. With the top piece inside out, I placed the skirt piece inside the top, lined up the 2 seams I had just sewn, pinned the 2 pieces together at several points and sewed where I'd pinned. I made sure to stretch the fabric as I went. Once I'd sewn all the way around, the dress was now complete, and this is how it looked. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.